So we want to add lines like this on the events to set the state of the level to something. In this case, set the face of the boss and set the current level. But we don't wanna go through the work of recreating an entire sound bank to just add this one line somewhere. So instead we are gonna use an hexator. In this case I'm gonna use XB32. And we have to open the sound banks. They are here. No, not here. On your Steam apps, Killing Floor 2, Cave Game, Brew PC, WVoice Audio, Windows, and here. Now, for example, the ones I recreated or I reverse engineered were music active, music ambient, and music menu, but I want something that will tell me that I'm definitely on outpost, for example. So we got here this one that says environment outpost. This will obviously only play on that map, so whenever a sound here plays, whenever its event to play is called, I can safely set the level to outpost and be sure that I'm on that level. So this is the file that we want to change, the bank, but we can use this text file to get stuff, to get data on what we want to change. We got the list of events here, for example, and conveniently they got the names of the sounds that are gonna play. So you just pick a sound that you think will always play, for example this one, a wind gust on the exterior, and outpost is mostly on the exterior. And while you say okay, I'm gonna add that set state line to this event. So you can just make a mock-up. Here I created that event as a mock-up just to see what I'm gonna do. Of course, here the first line will be a play that sound, and the second line would be set the state of the level to outpost. So you want it to look like this. It originally looks like this. Having this, you can create a fake sound bank. Just add this event. That's why I removed this one first. That's why it was empty. So that when you export that sound bank to a file, the only thing that will be there will be this single line, basically. So you can copy that code and just try to use it to insert it on your actual file. So to do hex setting, something you will need are IDs. And here we got the event we want to change, and we can see very clearly what its ID is. You can also see it here, but this is automatically generated by this name, and if you go to events with a similar name or something, the event may not get set to the correct value, so always use this number here. Besides that, this work unit, this switch, this playlist, everything has an ID, but you can't see it here. You will need to use either this, but you can only get event IDs and get audio IDs here. This would be the waves. You can get the IDs, the same wave IDs here. The name of the file is the ID. You can get some more IDs here on this file, on this one specifically, or on the one of your project that you generate here. This number minus the U is the ID. So for example, event play PC concussion or ring loop has this ID, and we can find here the states that we created, because we will need their IDs too, and they aren't anywhere else. Well, this is the original game. I'll find it on my generated sound bank. The boss phase, for example, will have this ID. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And the level This is its ID and the ID for each of its values. Here AK is not an AK-47, it is Audiokinetic, the company that made the software. You can find the buses too here. But you won't find everything on those files. You can also get more IDs on the project by opening the folders and opening the work units. For example, we will open the events, and do not use Notepad because it will open like this, like trash. Very hard to read because the line breaks do not have the characters that Windows needs. But you can use another textator that opens properly. And here, for example, we see that the work unit has a long ID that is full of text, and you can use this very well. But if you find something that like this that says short ID, then this is the ID that you want, and in this case it works with this action play. So the action, and we are on events, if I remember events, so the event action for this specific event, which is play M Bar in Paris, has this ID, and you won't be able to find this number anywhere else, basically, unless you open the soundbank itself and reverse engineer the ID. This event action ID would be the event, but you can check its ID very easily. But this single line, it also has an ID. This is called an event action. So we will open the outpost, but we need the original one. So we'll go to Alt and find it. I'll make a copy. Damn it. So this is very hard to understand just by looking at it, and it's also a very huge file. If you can see, there's a lot of pages here full of hexadecimals. But you can use this wiki to get an idea of how the format works. Now this wiki is very old, as you can see here, so it is not up to date, and even for this date it is not complete because it's some reverse engineering that wasn't fully finished, but at least it will give you a very good base. Now the section that we care about is the here section. It has all the objects of the soundbank. Out of these we want to find first the event, so we got here, this is the event, and it is type number 4, which means that it will start with a 04 on its X. But of course there are a lot of 4s here, so we are not going to search for that yet. We want to find this single event, so we go and find its ID again, this one, and we will just turn this to Xcode. So you open your calculator, go to the programmer mode, and just type the number and turn it to X. So now you got the ID. However, when the program saves this ID here, it will not save it like this, it will save it in reverse. So you go and copy the ID in reverse in pairs. So first we will copy it in natural order, and now we will copy the same thing but in reverse like this. And this is how it is gonna be saved on the file, so you have to search for this. This is called Little Indian and Big Indian, but I never remember which one is which one, so I just went with natural order and reverse. But if you know, then you already know, I guess. So first you will want to search the second line, the one that is reversed. This program has a search that you use hex strings. Hopefully your hexator also does, and it doesn't find it. 77785BD. Oh, I'm searching up. Okay, it found one here, but it could be a coincidence, so I'll try to find another one. No, that's it. So this is the only place in the whole file that has the ID of the event we want. So we are pretty sure here that on this line you got the event somewhere. So now we are going to search for that 4. Now if you see here, the first byte, the first in the list, is a 4, so it will be before. Here is a 4, there is another 4 here, another one here, another one here. It could be any of these or even higher, but we are going to go with the closest first. After the 4 you get an unsigned int 32 size. This means that you want to search 4 bytes, that means 4 of these boxes. And it says length of this section. So we got the 4 here, and we are going to grab 4 boxes, I C and a lot of zeros, and that is the length of the section. So like I said, everything is in reverse, so it's 0, 0, 0, 0, C. So in total it's just a plain C. And we turn it to decimal, that means that the length is 12. So after these 4 bytes you get 12 more, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way here. So I'm gonna mark the end. I'm gonna go back to the beginning and mark it. So if this was the 4 that marks the start of this event, it would end here. So now we continue. After that we get another 4 bytes that have the ID of the event. So we ended here and we start here, and this is the ID of the event. Now if you recall, that is the ID of the event. So we are now pretty sure that this is the correct 4. This is the beginning of this event. After that we get another 4 bytes that have the number of event actions. As you can see, it only has one event action, the play this sound, most likely. And now for each event action, we only got one. We are gonna have 4 bytes that have the ID of the event action. So here we would have the start of the ID of the event action. We are gonna copy it. It's B8, 10, 13, 1C. So now we wanna add a second line. So the first thing we would do is that we do not want to have only one event action, we want to have 2, one for play and the second to set the state. After that we got that for each event action we are going to have 4 bytes. So this is the first 4 bytes and we need 4 more. So we go to insert and insert 4 bytes. So now the event doesn't end here, it should end here. So I'm going to mark just to make it easier to check visually. So now this event is this long, but this is not probably a valid ID, and of course we do not have a valid ID. We would have to perhaps create it here and then copy it, but basically it has to be an ID that doesn't clash with any other existing ID. So you can pick a random number, and so long as you recall what number you put, and so long as it doesn't clash with anything, then it is safe. But basically I just go with all Fs because it is very unlikely that there is an ID using that. Now, because I have done already many of these hex mods, I know I have used this one, but you just go down for every new ID that you generate, FD, FE, FD, FC, etc. I'm gonna go with a safe number, EF, okay? But basically you can put any random numbers, and so long as you recall that you have used it, and so long as it doesn't clash with another value here, it should be okay. Now we added 4 bytes here, and if you recall we got the length of the section, and we have to add 4 here, so the length was C. and we have to add 4. So now it is 10 in hexadecimal, so I just type 10 here. Okay, so now the event is fixed to also call this event action, but we have to create this event action. To know where we want to create this action, we are going to find the first event and just create the next one after that. So we are going to do a second search, but this time searching for that ID, B81013-1C, and we are going to start searching down. Then we have to go up to make sure. Well, we found the one we got already. There's nothing more past that, so now we are going to search up. There is a copy of the ID here, and there's nothing else, so the event action is around here. So now we are going to find event action. Event action is 3, so it starts with an O3. So we got one here, and there's about nothing. Another here, but very high. From here you can check that you can remember that you got the ID of the object, of the type of object, then you got the length, and then straight away you got the ID of the object. And since we got the ID here, we got 4. This is the length, and this will be the ID type which matches the 3. So this is probably it. I'm not gonna mark it, but remember it here because I wanna have the end. So you got the 3, then the length that says 12, and we are gonna check how much that is. That is 18. So after this you should have 18 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 18. So we are correct. This is the start, and this would be the ID, which it is, and then you got a single byte that says the scope. It says scope game object. Now remember that this is the play, so the scope is game object. After that you got another byte, in this case is 4, that says the action type, play. Yep, that is what we are looking for. And after that you got 4 bytes that say the ID of the game object. So this 4 would be the ID of the sound that gets played, but we don't want to change this play. We just want to add our set state at the end. So what follows, always a 0, followed by the number of additional parameters, which is another 0. Then for each parameter, which is 0, so we just skip that part. Then for each parameter again, we skip. Then always 0, this. And then if the action type is 12, but it isn't, if it is 19, it isn't, and that's it. But as you can see here, this part is not complete. And we can see because we got these bytes that we don't know what they are for, but they are probably, if you see here, if you click on this, there is probability, there's play, fade, time, carp, delay, location, and hierarchy. So it could be anything, any of that. We don't care about that because we don't want to change it. We just want to add our event action right after this one, and it will be here. Now I already exported this line and just copied it and reverse engineered how that looks in binary. I have it around here. Here. So this would be the code for the level change. It is 26 bytes, and you have to add this code basically. 3, 15, blah blah blah. Here goes the ID of the event action, then a 412, then some zeros, then the ID of the state we want to change. In this case, this is the level state ID into hex, and then after that you add another 4 bytes with the value. In this case, we will use this one, outpost. So we want to add 26 bytes here. So insert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 more. And it didn't pay attention. Oh, it's just marked differently. well, I'm gonna mark the bytes that I have to fill. And now that we got the bytes, we just copy this and fill it. 3 bytes with 0, then the ID. For the ID we added just a lot of F, and the final one was EF. This is the ID that we made up. Then the 412, then 7 zeros, then the level state ID, and then outpost state. And that's it. We are right at the 4 that marks the start of the event. So we have added this correctly, but if you go back to the wiki, you can see that the herc section also has a length. So we added 26 bytes here, and we added 4 bytes here, so that's a total of 30 bytes. So now we have to find that setting that is obviously up. We are gonna search herc here on direction up. Okay, and we found the start of the section. The first 4 bytes are herc, and the second 4 bytes are the length. So herc, and this would be the length. Remember that it's in reverse, so it's 0017F7. So I'm gonna type that 17F7 and go back to decimal and add 30. So this would be the new length, which is 1815 in reverse 1518. And now we fix that part, and then after that you get number of objects, another 4 bytes. We added 1 event action, so we have to add 1. This 67 would be 68. And now we got this file fixed. We can save. And this is it, right? Yeah. And we just copy and paste on the actual place that it should be. So now outpost will set the level whenever that specific sound plays, and since the level will be set from the lobby screen, then the lobby will play Christmas sounds, Christmas music, and the waves will play Christmas music, the trader will play Christmas music. Now you do the same for the other levels. For biotics, I believe I used a big fan or something, yeah, something like this, huge fan. Perhaps not this one, but I used something like this. For Paris, I used I believe this one. It is an ambient sound. It is a very long sound that has car sirens and stuff. For Minor, I used the thunder, I believe. Or perhaps I used the rain, I don't remember. Probably the rain, because the rain is all the time on, while the thunder only plays sometimes. Now we got the boss phase. For the boss, we need also a bank that plays something during the boss phases, and luckily we got this bank here. And if you see, it has a intro voice line that will mean phase 1. It does have a phase 2 start, it does have a phase 3 start, and a phase 4, and then finally has a death line. So that means that we can exit phase 4 and go back to none right as this place. Now for this you will also get the ID of the event, find the event on the X, do the same that you did here, but since there are several here, you will just be doing it one after the other, and you don't really need to edit the herc section after each one. You can do it so if you want, but since you will be adding like 5 lines, 5 event actions, then you just add 5 by 30, so 150 to the length of the herc section, and you add 5 objects, and that's about it. Then you replace the stuff, and that's it. Now I think this is it. Oh, for the boss phase, right. For the boss phase, of course, you will not use this specifically. You will do something similar. All of this is the same, but you use the boss phase state ID here, and you use the ID of the state that you're gonna set the value to. But as you can see, it is almost the same. It does use the same structure, of course. And I am gonna show you what this means. The 3 means event action, 15 is the length, and then the 4. Oh, I just saw something that I was missing. I will tell you later. The 4 is getting object state, and the 12 will be set state. And then a lot of zeros that I do not know if they need to be set, but I don't. But as you can see, probably just this, the milliseconds and stuff. And then in the end, you use the ID of the level and then the ID of the value you want to set. Now I was missing something, and that is what if you want to edit something different. For example, you want to edit DJ Skully, you want to edit any weapon file or something like that. I'm gonna go back here. So DJ Skully, if you open it, if you want to edit using your hex editor, it's gonna take ages, because as you can see, all of these are the events and all of these are the sounds. And if you want to reverse engineer and create that file here, it will also take ages, but if you want to make changes in the future, then you only need to change this stuff here and you can just compile the file and it will all work. So I suggest, if you want to do something like this, that you create it here first. It will be easier in the long run probably. But of course, if you want to do just some small change like what I did, you can just use your hex editor. But if you see here, where is the part? Here. If you see here, you can see in memory audio. And if you check the music, if you check the music, it says stream audio. Here on the audio settings for the track, you can check stream or not. If the sound is a stream, then it will be a stream audio, and the wave will go outside on one of these files like this. But if the file is not a stream, then it will be embedded on the sound bank file. So basically, this sound is inside the bank file. Let me find Skully again. But since that other file was huge and didn't have that many sounds, and this one does have a few million sounds, then this, as you can see, the scroll bar is not even moving. So this file is huge, and you have to find each specific sound that you wanna change here so that you can extract them. So again, back to the wiki, you will wanna find the data directs sections. We start with data. Data has its length, and for each embedded WEN file it will have a list of bytes, but you can also get that stuff on the direct section that starts with ref. Here on directs, you got directs, the length, and for each WEN file again, you got 4 bytes with the file ID, which you already have here. You have another 4 bytes with the offset from the start of the data section. So you will get a number of bytes that you have to add to the start of this section to get to the start of this file. And then you get the length in bytes of the WEN file. But I'm not sure, because I recall I had a program that I made a program that extracted at least one of these files, but I can't find it. It is not a very hard program to do anyway. and you can even do it manually. Well, at least if you want to extract one file or two, but because this is a lot, perhaps not this one. But we are going to search for riff instead. And this is Skully. I'm searching up again, I guess. Yeah. Down. Riff. If you see, you can easily see the start of the header wave. And here after riff, you get 4 bytes. And I believe these are the 4 bytes that mark the length of the file. If it isn't, then you can always go back to this, because you will always find the length here. But you can see very clearly that this is the start of the file, because it starts with wave, and after so many bytes it ends, and so you can just extract all those bytes and save them to a file like this one. You just use the correct ID so that you don't lose where it is, and then you need to turn this file to a wave, otherwise you won't be able to modify it, in case you want to modify it, or at least listen to it to know what you are changing. So for this you need a program, not here, that is called like this, went to OGG. It will grab the WEM file and turn it on to an OGG, just like we had an OGG at the beginning, and turn it to WEM. And I did not make this. You can find it on Google. Just Google the DX, and the place where you download it from should have the instructions on how to use it. But basically you want to use a bat like this. You run basically this code. So basically you will call the bat with your folder, and your folder will have all the WEM files, and the program will turn them to OGGs. For example, I got here all the music from Killing Floor 2 on OGG. Actually, now that I recall, there is some copyright issues that YouTube flags, so well, I'm gonna play a couple just like that. But if you perhaps notice, the music is sounded a bit like lossy, like it had some noise. I don't recall if the original file that plays on Killing Floor 2 is that lossy, but if you recall, they do compress their files a lot, or maybe this program is not perfect and adds some lossiness to it. I don't know, but well, at least you will be able to extract the stuff, and then you will have to rebuild it the same if you wanna go with X editing, or you can just load it here and rebuild the file. You could rebuild it to use streaming if you want to. But with that, you will be able to recreate any file that belongs to sound, as long as you take the work to rebuild all the stuff. Even if you just want to rebuild it without changing any sound, you can just extract the WEM files and then re-add them again using those programs and using that knowledge. So that's it. I hope to see some voice mods. I was told that the developers were gonna release an SDK to change playlists and stuff, a better SDK they said, but well, I waited a long time and nothing yet, so well, hopefully they will release something one day. But from what I see, it will be easier, or perhaps not easier but better, if they just release this file, right? The original project file that has everything, and perhaps a tool to extract the stuff from your own A folder, so that they don't release a zip file that has all the music when you already have it on your folder installed. Perhaps something, a small tool that just like this, that will extract everything from the folders that you already have installed and place the files, the music, in the right place. That way you would be able to use the BETS program to mod the sound of Killing Floor, because this is the original one that the devs themselves used. And it is free for us, so long as our sound banks don't exceed the 200 music files, I believe. Now, I haven't counted how many files has DJ Skully, but it does have a lot. We can check right now. $321. So okay, you can't edit DJ Skully with the free version of the program. It is not very hard, I believe, for the developers to just split this in two. They could, but well, you may not be able to reveal it using the free program. You will have to do some magic there. But well, you can always, I guess, what is global here? You could have 200 voice lines for Skully on that file, and then the 100 that you're missing added to one of these that is global. For example, here the player character should be global, and it uses very few sound files, so you could add a few hundred here. And try to work that way if you wanna go ship, but it will be easier if the devs just enable it for people, so that they can mod easily. And it will be the less work for them too. Remember, you devs, you don't have to release the sound files, we got them. You only need to release the structure. That is if you want to allow us to mod this way, of course. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and let's see what you can make.